Thank you everyone for joining today. If you haven't already, feel free to chime in with your name, your team, your LinkedIn profile. If you guys want to connect, that's what this is all about. We want to make sure that we're sharing ideas and connecting with each other so we can have further conversations. And I know a ton of that has been going on beyond this. So happy that that's the case. This is our 15th discussion. I couldn't believe it. I went back and looked at our list and I was like, how many of these we've done 15. So thank you for continuing to show up. As you go to ticketplaybook.com, if you went there this week, it looks a little bit different. We've updated the portal. We're making it an actual portal. We're working on some additional enhancements, as you probably saw there, that we're very excited to be rolling out this month. And there'll be more to come on those. But these sessions will continue to be here. They'll continue to be free and continue to be a part of us growing this greater community and what our industry really needs right now. So today we are going to talk theme nights. So there's no specific like set agenda on what theme nights we're going to talk about, but I think some of the things that I know I had Jordan reach out from the Dallas Wings that wants to share a couple of nights that they've done that were new and different, but would love to hear kind of what theme nights are most successful in your market and with what you do. You know, how do you guys make those successful? And then I know a lot of us have been brainstorming new ideas. And so I definitely want to take some time and talk about new ideas as well. So let's get started on the conversation around, you know, what theme nights work really well in your, with your team and in your market, and what do those look like? Jordan, are you on? I don't know if she's on. See her yet. Okay, I know she wanted to jump in. Anyone else want to jump in and share and talk about their theme nights? No one?
I mean, one that was really, I thought was good for us was our pink rink. But the one thing that we did that I thought was really, I don't know, people were really able to connect with it, and you could feel the, you know, just how appreciative like the players were towards the breast cancer survivors, as we did a on the ice. It's a huge American flag on the ice, and the cancer survivors all had t-shirts on, and they went out and they held it, and they held the flag, and then the players came over with the bouquet of flowers and gave them flowers and a hug, and it was really powerful thing to do for that particular night.
Yeah, love that. Getting them involved, being front and center, and then connecting your players to it. That's really, really cool, Sarah.
Hey guys, Kyle with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Being in minor league baseball, we have a little bit unique perspective where we can change our identity for a game. So last year we changed to the Wisconsin Udder Tuggers for a game in response to June Dairy Month. So biggest game of the year, sold out of merchandise in 5 hours. Did reorders multiple times, still our best selling merchandise in the store today. So for the 2020 season, we were going to do 4 days of it instead of 1. So that'll be an alternate identity that we have moving forward. We also have the Wisconsin Brats as well. So something unique that we can do in minor league baseball. We still have to keep our name for X number of games, but something we can change every so often.
Very cool. Who came up with the name, Kyle?
It was a little bit of brainstorming from all. So we actually have a team in the Northwoods League as well. And when we were brainstorming names for them, they became the Dock Spiders. But when we were brainstorming names for them, Udder Tuggers was one of those names a few years back. And then it resurfaced this year. We thought it was finally time, 2019, to bring it out. And then it caught like wildfire.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, you do have a lot of flexibility when you can change your team name and kind of have an alter ego. That's very, very cool, though.
One cool theme night that we did when I worked for the Delmarva Shorebirds was Float for the Fund. So we did a big like ice cream social root beer floats night where everybody that purchased a mug got a root beer float that night. It also raised money for charity. I think it was towards mental health awareness the year I was there. But it was definitely something that was a yearly thing that attracted groups, but then also individuals as a fundraising element to it too. Definitely a highlight for us.
Very cool. So they would buy, Jimmy, they would buy the mug with the ticket, like it'd be a package, or could you just come in that night and buy the mug separately? How did you guys market that?
You could do both. You could definitely have pre-purchase, but then there was a lot of it on the night of as well.
Yeah, I'll go. Josh Avart with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think the Pirates actually do really well for the amount of theme nights that we have, and I'll try to share some more in the chat later today. But one of the things that we have a lot of success with is our university nights. So what we do is we have a co-branded hat detailed to each university. They have a specific night: Penn State night, Point Park, Carnegie Mellon, Pitt, Duquesne. We have around 7, 8, maybe 9 of them university nights. They sit in a specific area in the ballpark. Everyone gets together with alumni. They get a hat, which is really cool. Some other theme nights that I started up the past, which I'd love to share with you guys in case you guys ever want to start something up, is a runner's night. We partner with a local running store to offer discounted tickets. Runners can run the bases after the game. That's pretty cool. As we know, weekends in baseball is kids run the bases. A lot of time adults want to run the bases. So we do our runner's night one time throughout the year, run the bases after the game. Martial Arts Day, something I started up here at the Pirates, where we recognize the martial arts community in Western PA. They get a go on the field before the game, group salute, wave to one another. If you want some healthcare professionals nights, dental night, get some dental offices out at the ballpark. It increases ticket sales. You get different offices that bring out 10, 15 people, maybe 4, 8 ticket numbers add up. Eye care professionals night, as well as some other first responders, Catholic schools night, class of 2021 night. So I'll share some ideas later in the chat. If you have any questions, just message me.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. I love the runner's night and running the bases. It's so true. Adults always want to run the bases, but it's like totally like forbidden. It's only for kids on Sundays after the game. So I love that concept.
The bucket list. Come on down, run the bases.
It's very cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, we'd have to morph that for those of us in arenas, but even stadium wise, I mean, there's things that you can do to have them run the bases or run lines on the soccer field, or there's lots of opportunities.
Can I just ask a follow-up question for your universities nights? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? We always have trouble with universities, so I'm just curious, like how much your ticket costs, what you do. Oh, you're on mute.
I think I will learn a few months into this pandemic not to get on mute. Yeah, if you go to pirates.com/university nights, I was just on the website. It's still up. You won't see any dates or ticket prices on there, but you see we're actually going to do a co-branded water bottle this year. Tickets are like $18 in the upper level, $30-some in the lower level. It has to do with licensing. So we work directly with the university and their marketing team. So Penn State will have to confirm it since we used our logo. We have an area in the ballpark where people can take their ticket to redeem their co-branded item. But yeah, we reach out to the university. They do a lot of the dirty work. They send it out to all their members. We do some TV advertisements, radio advertisements. Listen, it's really cool. You get a whole section blocked off to people to support the university. So I know West Virginia likes coming out here and singing country roads. So
yeah. Who's your main contact usually at the universities that you?
Yeah, it has to go with marketing and licensing for that. So I don't know the exact answer. There's our marketing team will then talk to them, and they will. It has all licensing, business operations.
So just to piggyback on Josh, when it comes down to university, and I think that's a great idea. What we've done here at the Florida Panthers, we've done something similar. Ours is called Student Rush, and so what we did is like we identify key influencers, which are typically students from the local universities. So we pick about maybe 6 or 7 universities and identify an individual student from that university and have them market for their specific school. So when we started that about 3 years ago, I think we did maybe about a couple hundred tickets, if you will. And just of last year, we did well over 2,000 tickets, but this is throughout the season. So the program is called Student Rush. And once again, they all had an opportunity to sit in a certain area in the arena. In addition to that, they had it discounted on the drinks. I don't know all the details. I'm sure Bird could talk about it a little bit more, but it was a program that worked very well. And we're looking at revamping that for the upcoming season whenever things get back to normal.
Yeah, and we also do a pregame happy hour too, where people get together at, we call it the corner bar. It'll come with one free drink ticket and you get to socialize as well.
To follow up on that real quick too, one thing that I found pretty good success with when we were working with colleges was once we made the contact with them was making contact with the RAs in specific dorms, because they would then make it an event for their residents to all go do something together to get to know each other. And that really helps us on the group sales side.
Anything else on college nights? I mean, I know we have a number of teams that do college nights through Spinzo, and typically it's a co-branded hat and a ticket. And I know I actually did, if you go to on Sports Business Solutions, there's a blog that I did with Ryan Erdman at the Carolina Hurricanes. They do really successful college nights, and they work with a number of the universities. They're kind of in a hotbed there in Raleigh. But we talked in depth about what they do, who they work with. And the key for them in those theme nights is that they now have both their sales team and their marketing team charging on the same path. So they utilize their marketing to help them to grow those college nights. So they're really infiltrating the entire college, but then they're also doing some marketing to the alumni and to those other people that are not necessarily being communicated to directly from the university. So they're able to kind of grow a bigger base. Ray, did you want to chime in? I saw you on.
Yeah, I wanted to speak about our experience at Northwestern, because obviously our students get in for free to our events. So they get into football for free, they get into basketball for free, they get into all of our Olympic sports for free, and we actually have a lot of marketing that we push towards them, usually in the form of apparel, or we have a cookie dough bar for big conference basketball games, get them hopped up on sugar. But we do an event historically with the Blackhawks. We do an event historically with the White Sox and with the Cubs, and both the White Sox and the Cubs collaborate with us in terms of letting us have a presence at the game from a marketing standpoint and also from a ticket sales standpoint. We had literally a ticket sales booth for our football season at the White Sox game that we did most recently. And the Sox also hosted an event at our stadium for an important conference game, because you just can't get your sales staff and your customer service staff shoulder to shoulder just with seat visits. And so they selected about 50 season ticket members to do an event with us at Northwestern. So that's another way you can go in the other direction. And certainly you get more buy-in if you're also working with the ticket sales office in the market in which you're working.
Yeah, great points. And you have a unique perspective being at a university. So, if it's a give and take with, being able to allow promotion back and forth, and then to your point, can you take your season ticket holders if you're the professional team and send them an offer for a football game or a basketball game to help a university? So, not unlike what we would partner with other, say, professional teams in the market, you can do the same thing with a college and university situation and really truly create a win-win atmosphere.
Well, the Sox used it as a hospitality event. They came out hard. They got a tent, they catered it. They treated their people very, very well. I'm told it was an event that they wanted to repeat for the Wisconsin game this season. But again, we don't know what's going to be happening.
TBD. TBD right now. Other ideas of things that have worked really well in your marketplace or your top theme night that we maybe haven't mentioned? Our team's doing Grateful Dead nights and, Jimmy Buffett nights, those types of things. I know some of those get some play or some, good backing, or 80s, 90s nights, those types of things.
Yeah, we do Jimmy Buffett night. Typically, we do it around the 4th of July holiday in a premium space that we know we can't sell group for. Just with our market, we don't sell the group space on like July 5th or July 6th, whatever. So we then sell it to individuals, but get the same amount of people that we would have for a group. So 175 tickets for Jimmy Buffett night with a Hawaiian themed buffet, concert after the game. We have a sandbox, so we do concert in the sandbox. So beach themed concert type feel. This year we were going to do a button up Hawaiian shirt with it as well. So
I've seen a few good ones in Southwest Florida. It wasn't my team, but the Everblades, the ECHL team. I know you work with them, Denise. They've done like Superhero Night, which was really, really popular. Princess Night. I mean, they have done some really good themes down there for sure. But Superheroes was really successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the ECHL as a league has some standard nights because they have some partnerships. So like they do a Nickelodeon night. I think the Superhero might tie into a Marvel night that they have. So their teams have a couple specific nights that they are set to do, but they are super successful. And I think the key is some of it that I've seen and worked with some of those teams is that it truly is, as I was saying before, it's this marry between marketing and sales and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And I think one of the key things that sometimes we forget in the course of a theme night is really understanding what our goal is for the theme night. I've been, kind of in the weeds, both on the marketing side and the sales side. And sometimes a theme night isn't necessarily all about selling tickets. I've been a part of theme nights that had nothing to do with selling tickets. It was all about the show. And I think I talked about this on your podcast, Andrew. I was a part of the Swipe Right night that the Atlanta Hawks did way back when. It was the first ever. It was kind of the one that like shocked the world in some ways. But the goal there was never to sell tickets. It wasn't a ticket driving theme night. It was a shock value, a press value theme night, and it accomplished its goal. So I think being able to make sure that you as an entire organization know what your goal is for a theme night is really, really important. Other theme nights that have been successful? Anyone wants to mention?
We, when I was with a couple other teams, we worked with the local Rotaries, and their big fundraiser every year is to strike out polio. And so we came up with some good fundraisers on that side too. That was obviously a fun baseball tie-in with Strike Out Polio, and that was definitely fun and successful. And as those groups have sort of adopted in the younger base a bit more over the last 5 years, we've seen better success with it for sure.
Has anyone done, I have not seen, but like a Harry Potter night or things. I live right by Disney, so I see people like walk around dressed up like that on a regular. So I would think that there's a lot of fans throughout the country. But has anybody done anything like that? I know movies are a big thing as well for theme nights. But Harry Potter just sticking in my head because I was just at Universal. So.
Yeah, with the Timber Rattlers, we do a Harry Potter night every year. Typically, we do Harry Potter and Star Wars, our two big movie ones. Harry Potter night, we do butterbeer on the concourse. We have the owls set up. We have all the flags for Harry Potter. Yeah, we go pretty all out for Harry Potter night here.
Taking that concept a step further, we actually worked with some Quidditch groups. There's actually Quidditch leagues and actual people in most markets that actually get together and play. There's actually a professional league, if you will, with teams all over the country. And we actually were working on hosting one of their matches at a game. Yeah, there's groups all over. So that could be in your Harry Potter night. If you want to take it to the next level, see if there's a local group that plays Quidditch.
They got a World Cup for that, believe it or not. They held it in Kissimmee, Florida, like a couple years ago. It's unreal how many people are in that. Looks fun.
Very cool.
One of the areas that we don't touch on when we speak about whether we're doing something around Game of Thrones or Harry Potter is there's some licensing hurdles that I'm not 100% sure about. In fact, we did a Game of Thrones football game in November with the Winter is Coming theme and all of that. It was more of a promotion to get our students to come out. It wasn't really a group ticket activation. Working for Ravinia, we had a Weird Al Yankovic concert, and we had the Fifth Legion come out because, you know, Weird Al's got a song about Star Wars. So we had the Fifth Legion going through, and then we had for Ghostbusters night, because we do theme nights with where the Chicago Symphony Orchestra plays the score for Ghostbusters and then shows it on a giant screen in our lawn. We also had Ghostbusters reenactors, all part of the tableau of the event. And so those sorts of resources, depending on the size of your town, are out there. There are people that are pretty passionate about their sort of thing, and just whether a question of whether there's a value in you engaging them.
Very cool idea with the orchestra playing the score from a movie if it ties into your theme night. That's a really creative way to add a totally different group into a theme night that probably would, I would have never thought of that. So love that idea.
You know, our industry is all about stealing ideas from other teams. One that we stole was Wiener Dog Race from the Green Bay Gamblers. We have a pretty good relationship with them. But we did a Wiener Dog Race on our field pregame. So they run from the left field foul line to second base or wherever we decide to do it. Normally like 75 Wiener Dogs all out on the field. It's quite entertaining. We just got to hope none of them poop on the field. And then we couple it with do dime hot dogs that night. Then hope that they pay full price for everything else. And our per caps are actually quite interesting to look at the per caps that night, because people end up spending a lot more on other things because they feel like they're getting a really good deal, which they are on hot dogs, but per caps are still pretty high.
Very creative.
One cool thing to add in, I saw youth baseball and softball nights in the chat here. My good friend Josh Canup, who used to work for the Bradenton Marauders, did an interesting thing in actually working with little leagues and you know, well in advance of the season to set up their league to have a ticket included in registration costs. So for them, that would then, you know, the league would pay a flat rate for all of those, and then you'd set up a large fundraiser for all of the parents and siblings that don't have tickets already to purchase those. And it turned into some huge group nights. I know here in Fredericksburg, we had about 2,000 from one little league that was expected, obviously before COVID came through. But you know, it's definitely an interesting idea that I tried to put into play this year and seemed relatively successful with pretty high returns on the fundraiser rate as well.
Yes, always great to get something tied into a registration. And shout out to Josh. Thank you for adding all these nights. I think I saw some people writing a number of these down. So these are very, very cool. Other ideas, other new ideas or things you guys have been brainstorming you want to throw out and say, hey, has anyone ever done this?
Hey, Denise, this is Brandon from the Detroit Pistons. One thing that I started doing was the sorority nights. So I did like a Pacific one called Alpha Kappa Alpha of Great Lakes, and they would sell about 500 tickets, and they would have a particular section about the Alpha Kappa Alphas, and they would do pictures on the concourse. They would have like all their main colors are pink. So you see the one side of the whole arena in pink. It was kind of a cool situation. Like a lot of different sororities had their own like chapters, and they came from like New York, Chicago. They came from Indiana, Ohio, mostly Michigan, obviously, but they were coming from West Virginia, various different states too. That was kind of a huge success that I do every year is sorority nights.
Awesome, thank you.
So I heard someone mention earlier about doing some stuff with the Rotary clubs. So my last gig, one of the things I've done is that when I look at working with Rotary, when you think about it, is actually thinking about working with civic organizations, right? So when you think about Rotary, also think about Kiwanis, along with Knights in Columbus, right? So one of the things I did that was a huge success was that with Rotary Club, we put together what we call Rotary Weekend, right? So a lot of these organizations, they have fundraisers, they do, social activities, but they want to do things that will bring added value. So one of the things that we did is we set it up where the night before, all these Rotarians, their friends, their family members, they would pick a hotel or a venue where they have a happy hour. So they have a happy hour to get an opportunity to meet and greet. And then the next day, partnering up with a sports team. And what they did is we got together and we went ahead and did a community service project where we partnered with Feeding South Florida. So it gave them an opportunity where these hundreds of Rotarians, along with friends and family, get an opportunity to do a civic duty for that day. And then you cap it off with the next day with going out to that sporting event. And that one event produced well over 600 tickets. So the cool thing about it too is we sort of baked in a fundraising piece to it as well. So now is spending time with friends and family, is giving back to the community, networking, as well as doing a really cool sporting event. So those are one of the things that work out well. So when you think about it, if that works with that specific civic organization, no need to reinvent the wheel, and then you could just do that for all the others. So identifying the right Rotarian, which means that you have to identify who is the district governor for that district, right? So in South Florida is District 6990, and under that district, they may have about maybe 30 or so clubs. So building that relationship with that right individual within the district is a good way of doing it. But once again, you could do the same thing with the Kiwanis. You could do the same thing with Knights of Columbus. All those things will always be a home run. And Brandon mentioned earlier about working with the AKAs, Alpha Kappa Alpha. And as much as that is a great idea, when you think about that Black Greek sorority, there's an organization called the Divine Nine, which includes all the Black Greek fraternities and sororities, and just put together maybe what we call an HBCU night as well. So those are things that could definitely create a home run for you guys.
Other ideas or other brainstorms that you've been thinking about?
I have a question here, Kyle, with the Timber Rattlers. Esports. I know esports are starting to become very huge. Just wondering if anybody's done an esports night, what that kind of entailed. I know we brainstormed it. We were going to do one this year, but obviously COVID hit. So wondering if anybody's done that or brainstormed some other ideas.
Yeah, great question. Esports, anybody doing something with it for a theme night?
So Kyle, I haven't actually done anything, but I too was brainstorming an idea earlier. Maybe this could be helpful for other people. With the Detroit Tigers, with baseball being postponed at the beginning of the year, it seemed like MLB The Show was released virtually at the same time as baseball being postponed. And of course, we had the Players League going on at that time for the, esports platform for MLB The Show. So I was looking at different ways that we'd be able to put together some type of tournament. Now, I'm not techie enough to be able to know if you can even do it, but some type of online tournament where people would essentially buy into a ticket for the following season. With that, they would have a registration for the tournament that they would get a private invite for. And really big picture, the way I looked at it was eventually we would break it down tournament style through a bracket. We would have, maybe our final four be able to come out to a game, potentially in 2021, be able to be in one of our suites, play 1v1 there, and then the champion gets to play against the Tigers player that represented them in the MLB The Show tournament. Again, nothing that actually went through, nothing that had fully put together plans, but just a crazy idea that I had. Maybe that could help you out with your platform as well, but just one example of something I thought of before.
Actually, I had a meeting with the Electronic Gaming Federation just recently. I'm working on a STEM night, and I'm trying to figure out a way to involve esports. So I contacted them, and I guess Connecticut is one of the biggest states that has the most high school students that participate in esports. So we're thinking of showcasing actually 2 high schools maybe at a Sound Tigers game for during STEM night. So that might be an opportunity as well. I can forward their information. They're actually all across the United States, so they're really trying to get out there and get high schools out and get them involved. But that might be, yeah, something to do as well.
Yeah, great connection to STEM. You know, that's a great way to bring that together, you know, as something educational to bring it into the right frame of mind. If you want to share that contact information, you know, they're on the chat, Sarah, or you can send it to me, and I can make sure it gets into the notes so everyone can see it. That's a really great idea. Thank you.
They're really looking to get out there in kind of educational type of way too. So.
Other questions about specific nights or nights that you've been thinking about?
Hi, everybody. I have a quick question. This might be a long shot, but does anybody do anything around tailgating? I've recently moved to the NFL and I'm trying to learn how to navigate tailgating type group and theme nights. So I'm happy to hear any ideas anyone has.
So what team are you with, Jackie?
The LA Chargers.
Okay. First of all, tailgating historically in terms of like an activation has been taking the lead in terms of either at a university, it's done through development, because I pay $600 for my $200 parking spot. You know, so I mean, I pay $600 for the $200 parking spot, and I work every game as a staff member, so I don't even get to use it for the way that it's intended. I get to let other people use it. That's number one. Number two is I would probably speak to partnership, and so partnership would because Bud Light hosted a tailgate competition. A couple 3 years ago, and also Bud Light did an activation around esports too, so there's that lead in too. Bud Light just did an activation around esports, brought in 6 of the top competitors and put it in a tournament of dozens of people that participated in that, so that the esports thing is in there. But if you're thinking tailgating as like, look how awesome my tailgate is, there have been some activations around Dr. Pepper as well, but literally our bandwidth for tailgating is so limited that we can't afford to use it as promotional.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. So you're feeling like the best thing is like a Bud Light sponsored activation tent that you can co-brand together and bring people out to.
Well, it would be more, it'd be working with people that are more experienced in that area for sure, because they've done it. And I would think that they would continue to get it, especially since their brand identity is about fun.
Perfect.
I know, like the Florida Everblades, I know they've done some stuff with tailgating and outside kind of parties that lead into, you know, from a theme night perspective, that lead into their game and the game tickets. I know they've done some stuff around colleges. I don't know, Thomas or anyone from the Panthers, have you guys done outside tailgating type theme night functions? I know it's usually where weather is nice.
Yeah, we have not. It's actually a city ordinance that we can't do any tailgating. So our hands are kind of tied in that situation.
All right, then never mind.
So one of the things I've done before, though, I worked with the Miami Dolphins for several years, and tailgating is always a big piece of coming out to an NFL game. So one of the things that I was able to do was to host the first ever healthy tailgate where I was able to connect with all these cool different vegan restaurants and partnered with different like running clubs. And so what it does, like they've done a couple laps around the stadium, and then afterwards everybody met up at this healthy tailgate. They pay one flat fee. So that was pretty cool. The other thing too is like you want to create like a ticket threshold, and by creating a ticket threshold, that will allow that group to have a reserved tailgate area, right? So we'll reserve the area for maybe 2 or 3 hours prior, actually 4 hours prior to kickoff, which is like 2 hours before the gates open. So we've given that area, and then they will go ahead and use that area, have a big tailgate, and it's always been a great hit. So definitely putting together like first ever vegan tailgate, and then the rest is all about finding that right ticket threshold, and they could host their own tailgate parties.
Okay, thank you. So you packaged the game tickets with the tailgate?
No,
Yeah.
so the group that I worked with went ahead and did it. So it wasn't the sports team per se, it was either that association or that group that did it.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah,
I
and
have
we
one
could talk.
more-
We could talk about it offline.
I have one more interesting idea to bring up for you, Jackie. I am an Arsenal supporter, and with our club being in London, we try to find unique ways to be able to, watch our team and stuff like that. So last year, when they made a U.S. Tour, and so in Colorado, LA, Charlotte, and DC, there were 4 major matches, and Arsenal America actually put together a huge tailgate for everybody on a non-game day event. A non-typical game day with Arsenal playing Real Madrid and DC. And the cool thing was a lot of those people were Redskins fans. And so they had ideas themselves of, where they wanted to be, how it would set up best. And on top of that, it's a unique market to try to tap into, because a lot of times our games are done by noon. And so being able to tap into some of that stuff with those groups, you usually have a lot of your local fans as well.
Thank you. That's good.
Any other ideas on tailgating?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Joshua with the Orlando Solar Bears. So we don't really have a tailgate spot necessarily either, but we do have a space in front of the arena that we can utilize. And what we did is we stanchioned off, a 50 by 50 type area. We were able to have 25 local restaurants, come out. They had all their food complimentary. And then we charged fans either $20, where it was a package of the Fan Fest, as well as the, ticket to the game. And then we charged season ticket members an additional $5 to be able to attend. We told all the restaurants that, we would have a maximum of 500 people. Wound up that we sold about, 800 or so, because not everybody always shows. People don't stay the entire time, but that was for, good hour and a half, 2 hours before doors. So it allowed fans to, kind of interact before doors. And then there was a portion that was inside, but you couldn't get into the arena from it. And that's where we had drink specials. So, people could still drink, get some food. We had a DJ, so, hang out. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. I like that.
Hi, this is Nicole Taylor from the New England Revolution. So we actually we play out of Gillette. So we have a ton of parking, and it's not necessarily theme night, but we actually package our group nights for our youth soccer organizations into tailgates. So some of them even market it as like a tailgating party at the Revs, and the game is kind of secondary for them. So tailgating is a huge, huge selling point when it comes to our youth soccer nights.
When I was with the Oakland A's, we used a partner called the Tailgate Guys, where they would come in and set up everything and cater with you too, or have it fully catered. It wasn't super successful because I worked for the A's and our fans are kind of cheap, but it was something that we found was really beneficial for us when we were testing it out with some of our season ticket holders and some of our fans, like during the preseason or like during the early season. It was something that could have been really successful if we didn't have cheap fans. But it comes fully catered. It's a sectioned off section within inside of our parking lot, and we have additional tailgate spaces that you could rent out that were included with your tickets as for an additional cost, where you would bring everything in and they could throw their own tailgate party, barbecue, everything. We've had DJs there too before. So it's nice to have that space. I don't know how your guys' parking lot's going to be set up or if you guys could do it. One issue that we ran into with one of our tailgate spaces, we couldn't have people back there on fireworks nights because of the precaution of setting up before a game too. But having that dedicated space was something that we found super successful, especially for all of our big games.
Hey, Jackie, this is Dwayne with ASU, Arizona State. To piggyback off of Ali, we actually have the tailgate guys incorporated with our groups now. And we've actually found it really successful. Some of our colleagues did like a UPS night. And what they did was they baked the price of the tailgate guys into the tickets. And so once they purchased the tickets, they got the option to have all the food catered and everything with the tailgate guys, and it actually ended up being a really successful thing for them. Over the group went from like 75 people to about 300. And so that was a huge thing for a football event for UPS, who's never done anything with us. And then in the university space, with like Ray said, we have our own problems with parking, but what we do with our Greek night, even though kids get in free, during family weekend, they actually pay for a bulk of tickets. And what they do is, how we get them to pay for those tickets is set up reserve a space for them for parking. And as long as they meet that ticket minimum, we're able to reserve one of a group of parking spaces. Then they can bring in their own tailgating stuff and do it that way too. So we have both the tailgate guys doing it, and then we also are able to have our own fans do it if they meet a minimum, and we go ahead and like comp those parking spaces for them if they reach that ticket minimum.
Okay, thank you. So it seems like there's a lot of success with having a specific ticket minimum, almost like a fan experience, making tailgate like an FEP where you buy into it with a ticket minimum.
Yeah, it's important to look at it, particularly the way that it would generate demand for additional tickets. I mean, a good way to look at it is just, let's say, for instance, you use tailgating availability with the 10 ticket entitlement. So for every 10 tickets that you buy, you can buy one spot for your tailgate. So if your group is 60, then you can have 6 parking spots. And so instead of having $300 in incremental revenue attributed to this, you're looking at $300 incremental revenue, plus because you're here to make money, you sold 60 tickets to the game. So instead of the parking vendor getting $300, that's a small win, and you don't get credit for that. If you can carve out a certain amount of inventory pre-game and use it as an entitlement, that's a way to leverage the purchase in advance and sell tickets yourself instead of through the secondary market or through other venues. If you're controlling the parking, you're using that as a fan experience or an entitlement or whatever. Then you can also do your seat visits at the tailgate instead of in the stadium. And that frees you up for other visits that you need to do during the game.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you, guys.
Good points. Lots of good points on tailgating. Someone mentioned UPS, and it made me think about just, all the talk about USPS right now. It could be an interesting theme night and a way to, just even mail carriers and, UPS, FedEx, all the like, especially after the holiday season and all the craziness that will happen this year. So depending on how your season falls, has anyone done anything with USPS or UPS or FedEx of like a night like that?
We had someone do a USPS day last year with the Oakland A's. They did run into a lot of issues because it is a government-based company. So with anything with ticket buying or all of these different things, at one point, I'm pretty sure he got a cease and desist during it.
Okay.
So you just have to be like really careful. Another major thing is that because it is a government agency, they're only closed on government holidays. So I think they did it Memorial Day Monday. So it just has to fit with something within inside of their season of when everyone's off. Otherwise, you're going to have a really low ticket count. But he did run into a lot of issues. I can't speak to it personally. I just like overheard it. But it ended up being a pretty successful night for us with a couple hundred tickets sold.
Good morning. One other question I wanted to throw out to the group is how do you rate success for your theme nights? You know, what does that look like? How are you tracking how well they're doing? And if they come back next year, you know, what's that threshold for you guys internally at your organization? You know, we've all had some that fall on their face, so.
I know for our management, they typically pick the ones that brought in the most revenue. So those ones they typically are going to want to redo, you know, every year.
Okay, so not so much tickets, it's just revenue. And Sarah, is that holistic of, say, merchandise, concessions, and tickets, or is it's holistic? Okay, good.
Yeah, everything just in general.
Okay. Other thresholds?
For us, on some of the more specific ones, like a Little League or a Scout Night or something like that, it is going to be increase on year to year and how many people we could get, you know, based on last year. So I know a couple of times on Scouts particularly, we were able to double their number from one year to the next. And that obviously told us that the sponsor was going to be happy. And then obviously that's, you know, 1,800 group tickets in on an April day, which was fantastic for us in minor league baseball. Anybody else in our industry knows how tough April can be at times. So, I mean, on the direct ticket ones, it does, for us, it's generally on a year by year.
Jackie, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like Brandon brought up the AKA group in Detroit a little bit earlier, and it made me think, you know, for us, when we did a lot of first-time group nights, it was easy for us to deem whether or not they were successful based on how the group leader perceived it and if they were willing to come back again and try to help grow it. And I remember that group leader was super passionate. She loved working with Brandon, and she was like, we had so much fun. We're going to get more people next year. And we've kind of seen a pattern with that, or at least I have, in terms of just getting feedback from the group leader right after. And you know, even if they only got a group of 40 out, if they loved it and they had a great time and they felt motivated to grow it next year, usually I think you tend to see success and growth year over year with that type of champion. So I think it's just another way to look at it versus, you know, if you sell 75 or 100 tickets, it's successful and you do it again. Because in reality, you could sell 200 tickets one year and then it could die off if you don't have somebody passionate about bringing it back again.
Totally agree on that for sure.
It's a very good point, yes. One of the things that I wanted to share just from a Spinzo perspective and knowing what I know about theme nights and how people run them through our platform is just some of the different tools that if you are using a third-party platform, you want to make sure that you're able to maximize those tools and what they can bring to light and how you can kind of take your night to the next level. I actually, a lot of what I was thinking about this actually came from a conversation with Scott Wolf last week. We were talking about a couple things about theme nights, and I ended up showing him a couple things on the Spinzo platform. He's like, oh my gosh, this would be so helpful. So I thought I would share just a couple screenshots, if you guys don't mind, with regards to some of the things that we do in Spinzo to help you. I know not everyone is a Spinzo client. We'd love for everyone to be a Spinzo client, but you know that will come in time. But just to give you some ideas, if you are working with a third-party platform or your current ticketing provider, make sure you ask about things like this. So one of the key things is how can you bring the branding of your promotion and your theme night to life? So like, what does that look like? Can you upload pictures from past theme nights? So this Star Wars night, well, it's not captured right here, but the Star Wars night for the Carolina Hurricanes, they have photos from past nights, people that have been dressed up on the concourse. You know, maybe you have a winner, or, you know, your college night from the previous year, you presented a big check on the field and you have a great photo. Like, those types of things can be uploaded to your promotions and really bring to life what the promotion is all about. So I think it's really important to think about that when you think about, you know, promoting a specific night. The other key thing that you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure you're able to track the success. So can you see on a day-by-day basis instantly how your promotion is doing? So this is one of the things that we have in Spinzo. It's called a group list summary report, where you can actually track on a day-by-day basis. And if you were to hover over any of these dots, it would tell you on that specific day how many people viewed your promotion and how many tickets were actually sold. So you can see in this case with these black triangles, this is what the event dates were. You can see how their conversion rate for this promotion got better over time. Here, they had a huge spike when the information went out. There were some buyers, it dropped off. They were able to share it again and again. So you can go back to your group leader and you can say, hey, when you shared that email last week, we got so much traction. So many people bought, we had so many people view the promotion, but it looks like it's dropping off. Can you go ahead and send out another email? Or maybe they're using different methods of sending out the theme night and sharing it. Maybe they're sharing it in multiple places. So you can give them feedback on that as well. So one of the other things that you can do in our system is you can actually track where you're sending information out. So you can have multiple links go to the same promotion, and you can actually track that conversion rate. So this is great for your marketing team when we talk about sales and marketing working together, but also you could do this on your own. So if you're working with, let's say, we mentioned Alpha Kappa Alpha and the Divine Nine. So let's say you're doing a Divine Nine night and you have 9 different organizations hypothetically that you're sending out a promotion to, and you want to be able to track all 9 of those individually. So I want to know which ones are actually pushing the needle, which ones are actually sharing the promotion at a specific time. You can easily carbon copy and create links specific to each one of those groups, so you know where the revenue is actually coming from, where you're actually seeing the results. This is more of a marketing focused example that the Anaheim Ducks did. They actually do a Ducks Angels night, and so they track everything down to email, paid ads. You know, you just really want to be able to track and understand exactly what's going on with your night. That way you can make changes midstream and really understand where you're going with what it is and maximize it, because at the end of the day, it's all about the number of butts and seats. That's what we want, right? The last thing here is this is our map view report. So I took this is actually from Grateful Dead night. So Clark from the Red Wings last year. And this shows you instantly plots all of the buyers on a heat map. And so you can see for their Grateful Dead night, they were pulling way outside of the state of Michigan. But then if you hone in just on the Detroit metro area, you can see a lot more clearly here. The great thing about this is that you can filter by specific groups. You can filter by spend amount. You can even go in and draw a polygon around any points or dots here on the map and click a button and get a report of exactly who those buyers are. So if you want to know who your buyers are in the Toronto market that came to the Grateful Dead night, you can actually know exactly who those buyers are, reach out to them, have a conversation, and be able to take it to the next level. So just a few things that, you know, as you think about doing nights and working with your theme nights, being able to have the tools behind you to be successful is also a big part of you know, the overall success. It's not working harder, it's working smarter. Questions about any of those? I just want to make sure to share just some of the things that we can help. Go ahead,
I do have a question actually. As the links are being sent out and tracked, is that an individual URL that's being sent out? So that's not like, you know, pistons.com/one URL. That's one URL per group that's being sent out to track it individually?
Yeah, so we have a short or like a vanity URL system on the back end of our platform. So for all of our teams, we buy and manage URLs for them. So for example, you know, the Carolina Hurricanes, we own canesgroups.com. So if they were going to send that out to multiple organizations, it may be canesgroups.com /Star Wars Legion 1, or it may be canesgroups.com /Legion 2, or whatever they want to create as that short link, they're able to do that instantly on our back end. But yeah, each one of them would be a different link that they would be sending to be able to track that.
Gotcha. Okay. I think it would work well for like our Scout Night fundraisers and stuff, being able to track how many tickets were bought and being able to get that troop or pack back their, amount of money per ticket. If there's a van URL, we can just give each one of them where it's pistons.com/scout and then their pack or troop number.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes it so easy when you can track all of that information, and then you know where to spend your time, because at the end of the day, if you don't know, which group is actually really driving or not driving the results, then you're not spending your time where your time should be spent.
That was the thing I like from it, Denise, is it lets you, kind of link up with marketing and say, hey, if this one, list is really working or this one group is really crushing it, maybe we can make some additional specific marketing for them to, get them to that next threshold. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as someone that's out on the marketing side, being able to, instantaneously change where your marketing spend is going, there's nothing worse than spending dollars on marketing when you're not seeing a return. And so to be able to make those changes instantaneously and know based on what's going on and the full conversion funnel is really, really impactful and important. I think marketing dollars are going to be tight as we come out of this situation, right? We're going to have to sell a lot more tickets before we can start spending a ton more marketing dollars. So, other ideas on theme nights or questions for the group?
I just want to put this out there. Is there anybody that's actually doing like an equality night, racial injustice night, or anything like that?
Great question. Anyone?
Hi, this is Aaron Levitt, Oakland Roots. It's not exactly a theme night because in California here, we can't have fans at our stadiums yet. But we are preparing for what we're calling the Justice Match, which is going to be a mixed gender match with some pretty well-known women's soccer players. And the intention is to fundraise towards, helping out these different functions in social justice.
Hey, Jordan, I saw you just joined. We're actually towards the end of it, but I know you wanted to share. Oops, you're muted.
Yeah, can you guys hear me now?
We good,
yeah,
we're good.
Sorry, our all staff meeting ran a little late. So I'm with the Dallas Wings, the WNBA team, and I've actually created a few theme nights within the last year and a half with them. Special Olympics and All Abilities was a huge one. We had over 150 athletes that showed up, had multiple law enforcement groups that came that are involved with Torch Run. And this year we were on pace to have over 700 athletes coming in. We were selling tickets, so it just grew overnight, basically. The other one, we did a recovery night that I created, and we really focused on the mental health and substance abuse communities, which I would suggest everyone to really look into that. Last year, it started out as a group night, had over 700 people buy tickets. We started a scholarship fund, raised over $3,500 and gave back into the community. This year we had over 1,300 tickets already sold before COVID shut everything down. So it's really big, and you can find that pretty much in every community and city that you're in. And then Clear the List was where we were going to be holding a school supply drive. I know Richard really talked about that a while back with you guys. That kind of came from the Wings as well. Currently, right now, we're promoting that as a virtual event. We've already cleared over 15 teachers lists and have over like 65 teachers that are needing help. So it's something even for the off season that anybody can really do, and then, bring that into your in season and have a big school supply drive. And we target teachers and give them a discount code. And that's how we were able to be successful in selling so many tickets. So I've done other things too, motorcycle rallies for domestic violence. So I can put my LinkedIn stuff in the chat. And if anybody wants to reach out, I'd be happy to talk with you guys more about any of those. So
that's awesome. Jordan, a couple questions for you. The recovery night. What types of groups have you had success reaching out to? Because you said, obviously those groups are everywhere, but are there certain groups that have been more successful than others and more responsive than others?
Yeah, so pretty much everyone's really responsive, right? So treatment facilities, they're huge on that because, you know, they want to be able to get out there and help. Intensive outpatients, or IOPs shortened, sober living homes, Oxford houses, any independent owned sober living homes. Our recovery night turned into a 6-figure partnership with one of the standalone hospitals here, or urgent cares, that they're going to be our marquee Jersey partner next year. Because they do so much for detoxing. So the healthcare community, hospitals, and then you can really go and look into collegiate recovery programs. So different universities around the United States, collegiate recovery programs are popping up where it's a safe space for students that are in college to still be sober and go to programs. And there's also quite a few sober high schools. So those are the people I'd really reach out to. And then there's tons of nonprofits that do prevention work as well. So on the prevention side.
I just think that's such a huge topic. You know, I think that's been a topic that's come up that, you know, addiction has risen through this whole, you know, coronavirus and the stay at home. So if we can do things like that and bring nights like that to the forefront as we come out of this, I think that's a huge win. And then you're clear the list. When you guys do that, are you selling tickets with a portion of the ticket goes to pay to clear the list, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so we hold a school supply drive. So we were going to start that about a week before the night, and then kind of continue that about a week after, and then try to gather as many supplies as possible. We have a really good partner that is real big on first responders and teachers that were willing to help us out and kind of donate some of their money that they use in our sponsorship deal for that. So the school supply drive is really where we get a bulk of the supplies. With the tickets, the teachers get a specific discounted ticket. We created a contest platform that the top 3 teachers that sold the most tickets off of their discount code, we were going to bring them onto the court at halftime and announce the winner, and the winner would get their list cleared. And then obviously, as we all know who work in sports, we would still clear the other 2 people's list, but we wouldn't necessarily announce that to everyone at half court. So and then from the supply drive, we would just go and clear as many teachers' lists as possible. And there's quite a few different websites, fundedteacher.org, Amazon Smile. Fundedteacher.org is really great because you can search by your zip code to district to certain grade levels. And a lot of people don't realize that these lists are really no more than a couple $100. I've never seen a list more than $250, $300. And especially now with everything with COVID and school starting, a lot of it is just sanitizing and cleaning supplies because they're not being provided, you know, what they should at this point. And so we have people really willing to help right now and clear lists. So
fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing those ideas and putting your LinkedIn information out there so others can connect with you. Those are some great ideas.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Jordan? I know we're kind of over time, but I love keeping these conversations going. So spark any other ideas for anyone else? No? All right, well then we'll close this out. Next week, we are going to just have an open forum. So as you register, you can submit questions. If you want your question to be more anonymous to the group, that's completely fine. But I want us just to be able to come together and throw out questions. You know, what questions you have right now? What questions do you have on anything related to groups, tickets, those types of things? Let's just kind of bring questions to the table and work together and answer them, through our own experience and shared experiences. So thank you everyone for joining. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, whether it's sunshiny or rainy. You can bring your own weather, right, Ray? And you can make the day good. So thank you everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thanks everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.